It's so beautiful, you and me. We meant to be in the great outdoors, forever free.
I am standing on what is known as Watling Street. Now, when they actually built the bypass, this little bit of the village of Wall got cut off from the main dual carriageway as it hurtles onto Tamworth. But hidden in this little village here is the remnants of a Roman settlement. Let's go and take a look. So here we have the Roman town. So you can actually see here what it would have looked like originally. You know, those distinctive whitewash walls, the terracotta tiles. Here are some great illustrations to show you what Wall Roman town would have originally looked like. So this, what we're looking at now, is known as the mansion, and it's actually got a mansionio, which is where mansion came from, meaning good, stately, big building. And this would have been one hell of a building. This would have been. Now it would have had these huge stone foundations, and it would have had probably made of timber, timber framed as well. But it would have been whitewashed, and it would have been a substantial sized building. But look at the position here, it's so nice in this countryside. So this area here, this would originally been kind of like a sauna, a modern day sauna area here. And you can see this is illustrated here by this illustration here. So what you've got is you've got your sauna, you've got your baths, and then you've got your changing rooms. And it's like anything really, isn't it? You don't truly know how big a site is really until it's fully excavated. But this is particularly impressive. I mean, you can see by the stones, the rebuilt stones there. Look at them, look at how smooth they are. Unfortunately, I am no expert on Roman history. However, I found a person that does, and this is Pete, and his YouTube channel is called Roman History Wars. Definitely go and subscribe to it because he's got some great stuff on that channel. Here, he explains a little bit more about the Roman town of Wall.
Well, just behind me is the Roman town of Letocetum, which stands on Watling Street, which ran between Richborough, Roman forts, and Dover, joining up and then heading up through London and then continuing up into the Midlands, and then finally finishing up at Roxeter, Letocetum, just on the edge of the Severn. The first evidence we have of Roman occupation is an early fort dating to the middle of the 1st century, and this was replaced by a later fort which ran into the 2nd century and is Hadrianic. After that, the town developed in its own right along Watling Street. The Roman town of Wall here formed an important staging post on Watling Street as it headed south and north. Behind me I'm standing in the Mancio building, which was a sort of hostel for official travellers, state officials to get new horses, rest up, take a bath. The Mancio survived for quite a number of years before being burned down. The town straggled out for a few miles on each side of Watling Street. It would have been quite a sight for an approaching traveller heading up on the road, eventually becoming smaller and more defended as the state of Roman Britain declined. The cursus publicus was the messenger service used by officials to bring information across the empire. Just behind me is the courtyard of the Mancio, which would have been quite a sight. Beautiful gardens, you would have stepped into it. There would have been a second floor above this with a balcony so you could look down, and very much a peaceful place to stay if you'd been on Watling Street all day and you were tired and dusty. You visited the bathhouse further down the hill, got yourself nice and clean, had a nice meal and relaxed in the gardens, especially on a summer day. The lower rooms would have provided stabling and the upper rooms would have provided accommodation for those on the road travelling in an official capacity. The main road between the Mancio and the bathhouse would have been a hive of activity during the day, with travellers passing through, traders offering their wares, sometimes from all over the empire. On the southern slope of the Mancio you can see small cubicles have been provided into the wall. These were the shops that the stall holders would have used to store their goods at night. They would have had a shuttered front. Excavation of the town bathhouse shows it was built in the 2nd century and continued into the 3rd, and shows 7 phases of rebuilding before going out of use in the late 3rd century. To the right was a large exercise hall. And now below ground level, within the hypercos, the central heating system that would have kept the bathhouse warm here at Wall. You can see these holes behind me. Hot air would have run through there and under the raised floor held up by peli tile stacks, and then would have fed up the wall and out to the ceiling. So, and lovely warm centrally heated building. Even in the depths of winter this would have been quite a place, permanently fed by burning wood, probably by slaves. The Roman bather would have gone through a succession of rooms, starting in the frigidarium, the cold room, through to the tepidarium, and finally into the coldarium, the hot room. They would have worked up a sweat and then covered themselves with olive oil, and then used a strigil, a small curved device to scrape off the grime and the olive oil, and then used one of the plunge pools to wash themselves off in. The bathhouses were very social affairs, and gossip would have travelled up Watling Street, as well as business and gambling would have been done within its walls. Thanks for watching.
There's only one way we can truly see this site in its entirety, and I think it's about time we got the drone up, don't you, and have a proper look at it from the bird's eye view. Well, that's a pretty impressive Roman site, isn't it? I mean, it's not on the scale of some of them, but it's just nice here in the Staffordshire countryside. So this actual, the proper name for this place is actually pronounced, I'm just going to try and say it, Letocetum, I think it's Letocetum, Letocetum, and it basically had a mansion and a bathhouse, so it was a smallish sort of town. It was founded in 50 CE, abandoned in the 4th century, and this is actually owned by or looked after by the National Trust. And you're free to come and have a look. There's a little car park here, lots of information boards. Well, that's me done for this Roman settlement, and hopefully on Monumental there'll be more to come. See you next time.